impeachment ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Yung impeachment ni Sara Duterte, merong tatlong grupo nag-file sa House of Representatives. Yung February 2, dalawang grupo. Yung Makabayan, yung leftist group, nag-file sila against VP Sara. At yung civil society group, yung kasama yung pari na dating atik tao, kasama sila doon. Nag-file sila February 2. Then sometime, February 9, may nag-file din. Akbayan yata, Akbayan. February 9, nag-file sila. So there were 3 impeachment complaints in all filed sa Office of the Secretary General House of Representatives. Then yung report na nabasa ko is na-refer na ng Secretary General sa Office of the Speaker. So the Speaker has 10 days to calendar it in the calendar of business. Ang balita ko, baka daw bukas i-calendar na. So pag makalendar yun, i-refer yun sa Committee on Justice. As of now, yun pa lang ang mga signatories, Makabayan at Bayan. So, pink, yellow, and the reds. Wala pa akong narinig na statement sa mga big political parties. But if you base the numbers of the previous impeachment, they have the numbers. They have the numbers both in the Committee on Justice and in the House of Representatives. Ang maganda lang ngayon is election na sa 2028. Yung maraming pumirma doon noong 2025 na impeachment na hindi nanalo. Marami rin doon na ang kanilang observation, dahil pumirma sila, bumaba ang kanilang mga boto. Because people who voted for Sara Duterte, the 32 million voters who voted for Sara Duterte, will not like an impeachment for VP Sara Duterte. We have to express our voices na hindi kami papayag na yung binoto namin na 32 million, i-impeach nyo lang basta-basta ng 1/3 vote of Congress. Okay, assuming for the sake of argument na lumusot sila sa Committee on Justice, they need only 1/3 votes sa plenary. We have to raise our voices. Pakita natin na ang taong bayan, 32 million, higher than the vote ni President. Pinakamataas si Sara Duterte na voto in history. Pinakamataas siya ng voto, 32 million votes. Ang tanong, pagdating sa Senado, they need 16 votes to convict her. As of now, yung majority is only 15. May 9 votes and ay minority. Basta hindi lang magdadagan yung 15, hindi mako-convict si Sara or hindi mai-impeach si Sara sa Senado. So let us support the minority, the 9, at I hope madagdagan pa ang minority. Because being in Congress for mag-18 years na ako sa Congress of, pang-anim na balik ko na ito, the margin of the minority and majority in the Senate is a thin margin. 15 versus 9. There are 24 senators. So, 4 lang ang bumaliktad, pwede nang mag-change yung majority. So, very thin line dividing them. And you need 16 votes to convict her or to impeach her sa Senado. So, mabawasan lang ng 1 or 2 more, wala na. So, very crucial. At tatandaan natin yung mga senador kung saan sila buboto. Because some of them are running for election in 2028. At ating nakikita anong election ng 2025, majority pa rin ang Duterte voters dito sa Pilipinas. And we will stand by our votes. Ating ipaglaban si Sara Duterte because we know she has been the duly elected Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. Kailangan nating tumayo at i-express yung ating mga voices. Because we are the real majority. So again, titingnan natin yung mga senador kung saan talaga sila buboto. Kung maglabas ng resources yung Malacanang, katulad ng ginawa last impeachment. Alam naman, commonality yun, mag-i-eleksyon, madaming projects binigay sa mga congressman. Yung mga hindi pumirma, zero. Pero yung mga pumirma, marami silang akap, marami silang tupad, marami silang mait, madami silang infrastructure projects, yung iba naging control pa. So ganun ang nangyari. May mga additional budget na pinamibigay. So as of now, hindi pa naman gumagalaw ang Malacanang. Pag gumalaw ang Malacanang, we will keep our noise. Hindi naman pwede masikreto yan. Because yung mga congressman, may mga staff yan. Magpukwento talaga yung mga staff, yung mga senador, may mga staff yan. So malalaman talaga natin pag gumagawa ng pressure yung executive sa legislative. But I think we have to really assert our voices as maisog, as supporters of former President Rudy Duterte. So I tell you, as early as January of last year, sa launching ng maisog, sinawalat na namin ni Mayor Duterte ang daming nakita namin sa budget. 2024 budget and 2025 budget. 2025 budget, yung lumabas kami, Attorney Vic, si Attorney Pedra, ako, si President Rudy Duterte, nilabas namin yung nangyari sa BICAM report. And that is already a red flag, a sign na meron talagang kalukuhan sa budget. Now, unti-unti nilalabas ko, hindi lang yan. Marami pa. May privilege speech ako na 14 automatic appropriations. Yung automatic appropriations, ibig sabihin nun, example, yung sin tax. 20% of the sin tax will go to the 20% will go to the farmers and 80% will go to universal healthcare. Yung 80% na yun, deprived pa tayo. And that is in the sin tax too. That's supposed to be an earmark. AGAA, which is a general law, cannot amend a special law, which is the sin tax law, at 80% healthcare too. Alam ng mga congressman yan, pero ginawa pa rin nila. So I hope titingnan ito ng Supreme Court because automatic appropriations, hindi dapat ginagalaw yan. Katulad ng mga utang, katulad ng IRA, hindi yan ginagalaw. Pero ginalaw niya, 14 automatic appropriation items sa 2025. Ginalaw niya. Magtataka ka sa 2026. Dahil sa ingay natin, wala na silang ginalaw. O ganun. What I mean is, wala silang ginalaw sa automatic appropriation. Pero pagdating sa bicameral, yun ang problema talaga natin. Bicameral Conference Committee hanggang ngayon, meron pa rin unprogrammed funds. Okay, palikan lang yung unprogrammed funds. Yung unprogrammed funds can only be released kung, number one, there is an excess revenue. Number two, kung may bagong sources. At three, foreign loans. Sa totoo lang, wala tayong bagong revenue. Sige, inutang ng inutang, kaya lumaki. Lumaki yung ating budget deficit. Ang laki ng ating budget deficit. Now, you ask me, legal ba ang unprogrammed? Well, I think it's still pending the Supreme Court. Maraming nagtatanong yan sa kung constitutionally, kung legal ba o hindi ang unprogrammed fund. Pero I will tell you, ang ating Constitution says, regular budget, which is yung budget na sinasabit ng Presidente, yung National Expenditure Program, at saka yung supplemental budget, dalawang budget lang, walang nakalagay doon na unprogrammed fund, pwede mong ilagay sa budget kahit walang pondo. Because yung regular budget mo may pondo, yung supplemental budget mo may pondo rin. Kasi kailangan ng certificate ng National Treasury yun na may pondo. So, medyo technical konti yung ating presentation. May pag-asa pa ba ang Pilipinas? May pag-asa. Basta may Sara Duterte, may pag-asa pa tayo. So thank you so much and good morning.
Okay, maraming salamat po. Muli, palapakan natin our very own Kong Sid! Thank you, Kapitana.
Medyo complicated yung tanong ni Kapitana. Magaling talaga ito si Kapte. Experience. May wisdom at saka may experience. Yung una, yung doon sa house. What if they get the numbers? I personally believe, personal opinion ko doon na they have the numbers. They have the numbers. Why? Because nagawa na nila last year. At saka all the parties are aligned with Malacanang. No? All the parties are aligned with Malacanang. Ibig sabihin doon, pag mag-go signal lang ang Malacanang o ang leadership na house, okay, supportahan nyo. Sigurado ako, impeach siya doon sa justice pa lang. Committee on Justice. At saka pagdating sa house, 1/3 votes lang ang kailangan. Kung kukuha niya ang 1/3 votes, ma-impeach na siya doon sa House of Representatives. Sa House of Representatives pala. But we will not be silenced magsasalita tayo because she got 32 million votes. Saka paulit-ulit lang. At bakit of all the issues na paulit-ulit doon, yung confidential fund na 125 million, pero itong trillion-trillion na plus flood control, kino-cover up pa. No? Why? Selective masyado nga. Yung confidential fund, hindi lang Office of the Vice President. Maraming may confidential fund. Kahit Office of the President. So, sinatanong, we all know that kaya nga confidential fund yan, confidential. Confidential, hindi yan basta-basta malabas. At saka yung kanyan, ongoing pa ang liquidation. Hindi pa nga nag-rule ang Commission on Audit. Kasi mahaba ang proseso yan. I-jump ka agad ng binadata ng Quadcom, binadata ng House. But I tell you, history will tell. History will, I would say, extinguish whatever accusation they have to VP Sara. Confidential fund is really confidential. Alam naman natin yan, kung may mga reservist tayo dito, yung may mga military background, you never will expose your source. Yun. Sir, you never will expose your source. Code name yan. Yung code name mo, Aguila, Maya, yan yung code name mo. You can only expose the name when the mission is declassified. Huwag naman nilang palakihin kasi lahat yan. Ganun. Okay. Next question, pagdating sa Senado. Yes, kulang sila ng 1 vote, 10 votes. Assuming they will follow, majority will vote to impeach her. Can they get 1 vote or 2 votes? Actually, it's possible. Two-way. Possible na mabawasan sila, possible na madagdagan pa. Mabawasan sila o madagdagan sila. But ang maganda nito, assuming it will take March na next month, March, April, May, mag-recess ang House sa March, ang Congress sa March 20, I think. So ang balik niyan, May. May 2026 is just 2 years away sa May 2028. Presidential, senatorial election. Tandaan natin, and as I say, tandaan natin, we have 32 million votes na bumoto kay Sara. Yung mga 32 million na bumoto kay Sara, sabihin natin, tandaan nyo kung sinong bumoto ng impeachment ni Sara. Whether they will be able to impeach her or not, tandaan natin, gagawa ka ng listahan. Ito yung huwag na nating iboto in the next election sa 2028 and in the elections to come. Diba? Tandaan natin yan. We have to make our statement. Let them know that the process is highly political. It is not legal or accountability. Alam natin na hindi lang si Sara ang may confidential fund. Ang dami. Ang daming opisina na may confidential fund. Pati presidente, may confidential fund, may intelligence fund. Bakit selective masyado, nakatutok doon? Meron pa silang sinasabi yung Madriaga na close down. I have been with Sara Duterte since she was vice mayor na hindi ko nakita yung tao na yan. Claiming to be PhD, palagi naman ako sa PhD noong araw. And I can say that because I have been with Sara Duterte. I was part of her core group campaign for Vice President. Hindi ko nakita yung tao na yan claiming to be close to Sara. Ako mismo, I can say that. Kilala ko kung sino yung mga trusted persons ni Sara. And I can only count a few. Wala talaga yung mga pinagsasabi niya doon. So, what else? So, 16 votes needed. Kulang sila ng isa. Pwede pa ba mabawasan? That's something. Tayo, we will talk to them one by one. Are you really sure? Are you really sure of your vote? You must decide for the future of the Filipino. Alam mo, at alam natin yan, that Sara is the strongest candidate in 2028. They are all out in getting her para pag ma-impeach niya, wala na silang kalaban na malakas. Yung mga nag-ambisyon, hoping may pag-asa sila. Because kung malusutan ni Sara itong 2026, pag mawala itong impeachment, klarong-klaro na, Sara Duterte will be the next president. 2028, walang kalaban na pwedeng tumalo sa kanila. So this early, we have to make a stand. Because, as reported, President has health problems. Management of our country is really topsy-turvy. We need a constitutional successor who is truly elected. Elected by 32 million. So yan. Wala tayong sinasabing masama. Ang atin lang, we want the constitutional successor to remain. At hindi siya basta-basta pwede ninyong i-impeach. Okay, ma'am, nasagot ko na o baka may dagdag pa kayo?
May follow-up question? Ito po.
Hello. Yung pong dalawa na sagot. Pero yung pangatlo po, how if mag-fail tayo doon sa Congress at saka sa Senate, is Baste and Pulong can replace Sara Duterte to run as President on 2028? Yun po yung tanong ko, pangatlo. Yun.
Yes. Ito parang kung sa management sensitivity analysis, ang ibig sabihin, what if? What if kung ma-impeach? Iyon ang tanong niya. What if kung ma-impeach? Papayag ba tayo na ma-impeach si VP? Hindi, di ba? But assuming for the sake of argument, kasi yun ang tanong niya, kung ma-impeach, wala talaga tayong magawa. Kung ma-impeach, hindi na siya pwedeng tumakbo. But I think our voices will be heard. Pakinggan natin si VP. Kung pag ma-impeach siya, pag sabihin niya, okay, just in case lang, no? Kasi ito, theoretical eh. So pag sinabi ni VP, hindi na ako tatakbo, pero ito ang ating iboboto. Patay silang lahat. Okay, di ba? Pag sinabi ni VP na si Barangay Captain Pexol, papatakbuhin ko ng presidente, patay sila lahat.
Addition to doon sa pinag-usapan natin. Alam naman natin po na alam naman natin na na-colonize tayo ng Spaniards for almost 370 years. Okay ba yun? And then next is US, almost 5 years. And then Japan. Alam naman natin na yung nangyayari ngayong kaguluhan sa Pilipinas is may connection doon sa mga leftists. Alam naman natin yun, di ba? Because I am a leftist during that time.
Dapat hindi pinabayaan ang 3 taon na minorder ng Kongreso yung budget. Because any amendment, any ramification, any diversion of the budget takes it away from the development plan. Kung ginawa sana nila, kung meron man silang ginawang adjustment sa budget, sana tumutupad din. It should be aligned also with the development plan. Pero ginawa, chap-chap yung malalaking budget. Chap-chap yung malalaking flood control. Yung Metro Manila Flood Control Project. Yung Pasig-Marikina Channel. I-chap-chap nila yun. Ginawang maliliit na budget. So, wala ka ng master plan. As compared to big-ticket projects na meron yang consultants galing sa foreign lending agencies, international development financing organization or agencies na nag-guide. So, grabe talaga. Kaya, baha left and right. Kasi yung project, walang quality, substandard, at saka wala sa plano. So, the leader must impose his leadership. So, yun yung nangyari. We cannot meet our plans, we cannot meet our objectives. Yung ating GDP growth, hindi natin namimit. Now, it will really take drastic measures para natin ma-meet yung ating objective. Number one, kailangan susundin yung ating development plan. Because the development plan, yung ating development plan, doon naka-base yung budget. No? Yung mga budget natin, 2026 budget, ang dami pa rin binago pagdating sa backup. So, I tell you, part of the development plan was really to institutionalize healthcare. Kaya nga, ating palakpakan ang pagdating ni ating kaibigan, Atty. Glenn Chong, nandito. Kasi parang si Bentel, nandiyan na. Atty. Glenn, dito tayo. So, balikan natin yung healthcare. It is the obligation of the state to provide healthcare. Compulsory obligation yan kasi sa Constitution. Hindi tayo dapat lumuhod sa gobyerno para humingi ng ating assistance. Kaya nga, ginawa yung tax law para kumuha ng budget galing sa sigarilyo para ilagay sa healthcare. At pwede kong sabihin yan, ipagyayabang ko yan, ako ang author ng tax law of 2012. Because before 2012, bumalik sila ngayon. Yung pupunta ka sa politiko para humingi ng medical assistance. Pipila ka sa bahay ng mayor, pipila ka sa congressman, pupunta ka sa senador, kukuha ka ng guarantee letter. The purpose of the sin tax law is to institutionalize healthcare. Ilagay lahat yan doon sa PhilHealth. Yung PhilHealth, lalagyan ng grantees, bawat probinsya, bawat munisipyo, bawat lungsod, para doon na kayo pumunta sa PhilHealth. Para bang Medicare sa US, sa Canada, ang ganda ng healthcare assistance. So, yun yung universal healthcare. I would like to give credit. Pinoy, syntax daw siya, pumirma na sa universal healthcare, si Digong. Pag nung pinasa yung universal healthcare, si Digong na ang nagpirma nun. Those two laws should be respected. Universal healthcare at saka yung syntax law. Believe it or not, yung syntax law na naglagay ng 74 billion sa budget ng 2025, zero ng Congress. Pinabayaan man lang din ng Presidente. Well, it's also pending in court. But yung 2024 na ginawa na nila, na pinawasan yung budget ng PhilHealth, tinanggal yung budget sa government corporation was already declared unconstitutional. I hope this will be also declared unconstitutional because, as I have said, it is the obligation of the state to provide health care services. Hindi pwede yung sabihin mo, may zero balance budget na kami. Ilan lang yung health centers na government centers. Sa mga urban areas lang, Metro Manila, Cebu, Davao, pagdating mo sa mga probinsya, ang maganda talaga yung universal health care. Yun yung purpose ng syntax law at saka universal health care law. Hindi sila sinunod. So, that's why as Filipinos, we demand that it is the obligation of the state to provide health care services. Nasa plano yan natin, nasa Philippine Development Plan. So, may pag-asa pa ba ang Pilipinas? Kung hindi ma-address yung corruption, wala talaga. At alam mo, bago ako naging politiko, matagal ako manager sa bangko. Meron tayong tinatawag na systemic ba ito or isolated. If you will notice, systemic na ang problema sa gobyerno. Hindi lang isang ahensya. Halos lahat ng ahensya may corruption. Systems and procedure na talaga ang problema. Total, I would say, drastic change ang kailangan sa sistema ng gobyerno. Is it isolated? Kung sabihin mong isolated, one or two. Corrupt si congressman, corrupt si senador, corrupt si mayor, corrupt si barangay. But when it happened everywhere, system ang problema. So we have to wake up. We need a Lee Kuan Yew mentality. Kasi si Lee Kuan Yew, nakita talaga na yung corruption niya sa Singapore noon. Nakita niya at sinabi niya, we really have to revise the system. So yun ang ginawa ni Lee Kuan Yew. Yung mga senior na dito, baka matatandaan niyo pa, in the 1990s, bumisita si Lee Kuan Yew dito. Alam mo yung una niyang Kuan, sabi niya, narinig niyo noong araw, PLDT ang ating telephone line. Sabi niya, yung bawat 10 daw na Pilipino, ang siya maghihintay makatawag ng telephone call, tapos yung isa naman nakuha, naghihintay pa ng dial tone. Sa kantsaw na yun, nag-open yung ating telecommunications industry. Pero pa siya isang sinabi, Filipinos watch up because if you do not wake up, Vietnam will overtake you. Where is Vietnam yun? Na-overtake na tayo ng Vietnam. So, hindi lang Vietnam, overtaking tayo ng Malaysia, Vietnam. Ang worry ko, baka ma-overtake pa tayo ng Cambodia at Bangladesh. So, we have to really wake up. Corruption is the number one. Leaders must have their conviction. Leaders must have a vision. Leaders must be able to implement the economic development plan. At hindi pwede yung nilalaro yung budget. That's what happened in 2025. So more or less, nabigyan ko kayo ng idea kung bakit ganito ang ating situation. Image. Our image as a corrupt country is getting worse. We really need to revive, to change the image of the Filipinos. Sayang yung pinaghirapan natin noong araw. Now, let me go to the other topic na binigay sa akin, yung